teacher, once again coming at you late with a matchday report because I'm incompetent and can't resist the taste of sweet bitter nectar of beer. So yes, this is, of course, like I just said, it's a late video, but you've come to expect this by now from me. We're calling it on the end of the season, I'm getting tired and I'm getting busy, so we lost 2-1 to Leeds. In all fairness, I do think this was a good game. From beginning to end, as the early goals get pumped in, and then the drama throughout, well, not, I wouldn't say drama, but throughout the game as both sides look to weave in and out of the game, gradually going towards the end of the game where, of course, we was, we had that unfortunate incident which led to us losing the game. I do believe it was a fair contest for a majority of the game, and it could have very well ended 1-1. So, credit to the group, genuinely credit to the boys for almost doing double over Leeds, but also credit to them for holding their own again at Ellen Road, which is a very difficult place to go for a lot of teams. No one has beat Leeds this season at Ellen Road, and it looked for a while, in some cases, that we could have done it despite what these tell you. But yeah, I thought it was a good game. Anyways, Leeds 20 shots to our 8, 6 on target to our 2. We was very aggressive in the first half, especially the opening minutes, but then that aggression gradually faded throughout the game, which again is a take that I'm not keen on. I always prefer it when we continue to drive forward with the aggression and the desire and the intensity to put teams under pressure, because that's when we start to produce fantastic results. But yeah, it's it kind of fizzled, I guess. Maybe, I don't know if we got rattled or not by the response that they gave for their goal, but you know, their first goal comes from Hughes leaving his man at back post unmarked yet again. This has happened a few times this season. And their second was, of course, an unfortunate penalty, but it is what it is. So, table-wise, we're still 12th. 2 wins in the last 5, 3 defeats. Based on other competition, Leeds in form currently, Southampton currently in form. Ipswich are dropping form, as are Leicester, but Leicester's pretty clear at the moment, so it's not too dire for them. But with Ipswich now going to be falling down into the top 6, the promotion charging for the top 6 gets a lot more difficult, bit because of the gap between 5th and 4th. That is a huge fucking gap. So it's going to be a lot like last season, where there's going to be 3 teams battling for automatic and 1 basically guaranteed to have it. The rest are just going to be battling for the top 6. In terms of the relegation battle, it's still relatively the same, all things considered, with some teams shifting and whatnot, but the future of majority of these clubs, I'd say the bottom 6 maybe, it's looking tight. But yeah, I'm not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the game. So, not that. Let's come to here and let's talk about... Shut up, Java. Let's come and talk about the player ratings, shall we? So, Di Cornell, 5.5. Of course, Woodman did not play and he was not featured on the bench at all because of illness. And it forced us to recall James Praddock from Bamber Bridge as well, which was a shame. Because, of course, it's any loan spell is important for James. Okay, so he riled Leeds up with some of the time he took over goal kicks, claims a few crosses, but a couple of shaky moments too. Coming off his line and fumbling the ball. Distribution not the best. I do think we were quite lucky to get away with a couple of Dye's mistakes, in all fairness. Story a 7, a decent fight against potential attack. Some big blocks over the piece probably didn't deserve to end up on the losing side. Lindsay a 7, won his header, which led to breaking the deadlock. Had a good battle with Bamford and go over the piece, didn't do much wrong. Hughes a 6, the ball sailed over his head for James' goal, albeit he didn't get much help from teammates. Yeah, I don't know, because he's gone to mark, I believe it was Bamford or somebody else, when there was already somebody on him. He's just completely left James. There was no one else that should be marking James but Hughes, so I think that's a bit too lenient on Hughes, to be honest with you. Yeah, one ad blocker. Potsy 6.5 didn't look 100% fit, but gave him a gutsy shift against some attacking threats. Leeds did have joy down his side, but chances were kept to a premium. I had a couple of moments in the final third. Yeah, you can tell that Potsy's getting knackered. And with Ryan Law saying we're not looking to sign another right wing back, it's probably going to come back and bite us in the ass. Whiteman a 7, wanted the ball all game, handled it well under pressure. Set pieces deliveries were hit and miss, but he had a steady afternoon, managed the game well after his early booking. McCann a 7. Oh, let me tell you, Ali McCante in that first half. Oh, fantastic display from McCann to begin with. Griff got away from him, but in the build-up to Leeds' equaliser, but Peony's number 13 settled after that and competed well in the midfield, winning plenty of tackles, made way with 20 minutes to go on a booking, and that's probably the only reason why, because of all the tackles he's putting in, he's already on a booking. You can tell from the majority of the game, the ref is fucking dying to give them something, so I think it's a smart move to pull McCann off. Even though he was doing really well, he should have been brought off, and he was. Miller a 7 carried a threat against Leeds again, provided the assist for Keane and had a shot of his own well saved. Could have helped Hughes out a little bit more for the leveller, I suppose, yes, but then again, like I say, it was Hughes' job to mark the man, not Miller's. Mads a 7, great display from Mads. Playing in behind Reece and Keane showed his quality in spells. His touching technique was sharp throughout and he's improving off the ball. Belonging in those final third pockets, he should take confidence from this display and hopefully he gets started against Millwall, but I seriously doubt he will for some reason. Reece 7 showed good strength and hold up play to win the free kick, which led to the goal. Not quite at full tilt just yet, but you can tell he's getting there, put a solid shift in. He seems very physical as well in his approach. Keane 7.5 was one hand to tap home the opener inside 2 minutes, is 9th in the league this season. Fatigued in the second half and made way, had impacted the match in the first half, created a chance for Miller with some lovely link play. Ledson 5, oh dear, came on and blocked a powerful shot. Horrible moment for him as late as his outstretched arm was struck by the ball and Leeds rewarded the penalty. Had gone into the book for a late foul as well. I'll discuss the penalty incident in a moment. Brown 5.5 brought on the bench for the final 20. North End had gone into survival mode, so he didn't see a great deal of the ball. Brady, and when we go into survival mode, it never goes well. Whether or not it's we concede from them or it's whatever else, it just doesn't go well. And to be fair, this time we almost got there and we was very unlucky with what happened. But if we're just trying to drive the ball forward rather than backwards in these situations, we're not going to be under as much pressure and we're not going to fumble. Yeah, granted, we might be more open to a counter-attack and whatnot, but it puts them under pressure. You know, when they're playing all these bodies high, why don't we get a couple more bodies forward so we can break through a lot easier? You know, we have players with the pace available to do that. I don't know how fast their centre-backs are, granted, but it just, to me, it just didn't seem right to always. It doesn't seem right as soon as, you know, we need to try and finish the game off, whether it be to go for the draw or go for the win, whatever, to sit back and go into the defence mode, because it never works ever, because they start putting more bodies forward and eventually they score. So it needs changing. Brady 5.5 made a well-timed tackle to thwart Piroli soon after coming on. Very good tackle, I will admit. It was he who sliced the ball up into the air, which led to the ball bouncing around and striking Ledson's arm. Oh, I did not know that. Right, well, that's a shame. But again, it was an accident. Led the line of his Stuart 5 led the line of his own and was left to chase lost causes, and Woodburner 5 introducing the 90th minute to add freshness for the closing stages, even though the game was gone. We're not exactly chasing the game at that point. I know what these boys are like. So, yeah, that's quite unfortunate. Ryan Lowe is furious after the decision. And admittedly, I was as well. But then at the same time, like I said, I've had time now to think about it. Because when it happened, I made some rash tweets saying the penalty was shit. Cornell could have read it better. Which I still stand on that. Instead of, you know, a lot of professional goalkeepers these days, when it comes to penalties, will make their mind up on which way to jump, and they'll just jump. Simples. They don't try and read the player's body language, and they don't do any extensive research into the player's penalty history to try and give themselves an advantage in this situation. When, if you know, it was to come to it, take Pickford for example, an old keeper of ours. What he does now for Everton and England is he'll research the team's most prolific penalty takers that he comes against. So in the event of a penalty, he has a little cheat sheet on his water bottle that says which player goes which way the most often, and if they go high or low or central more often, to give him a better chance of saving the penalty. It's a smart thing to do. You know, you do your research and you might reap the fruit of the reward. But I don't expect Dye to be doing any of that simply because he's not our first choice keeper. But you never know. Maybe in an alternate reality we could have saved the pen. Alright, so Ryan Law says, gutted is an understatement. I'm gutted for the boys. I thought they were terrific in everything they did, coming to Ellen Road and going toe-to-toe when not many people would have expected us to do that or win. We were in the same ascendancy for getting a result until a decision which has baffled me. Some of the decisions all game has baffled me really because they were very inconsistent. If you're going to give one silly foul, you've got to give them all, and it has to be done by a penalty decision where it's hit his body first and rolled up. I thought it was that as well. I thought it hit his stomach and it's rolled into his elbow, but the more I watch it from different angles, the more it looks like a direct bounce into the elbow. It's in a natural position, and yeah, it's tough to take, but it's football. I wouldn't say it's natural. No one in football should be standing like this. Simples. You should be having your arms tucked in or behind your back, whatever you're going to be doing. You don't put your arms out spread eagle. That's not a natural position in football, unless maybe you try to get your balance while dribbling. But Ledson's tried to take it on his chest like this, which when you think about it like that, you can argue it's a natural position because you're putting your arm out like this to give yourself a bit of balance on the chest to exert your force into the ball. So it's natural for that kind of stance of what you're going for, but in that same regard, it could have been avoided completely if instead of trying to chest the ball and then whatever else, if he would have just sliced it in the air, just take a step back and slice it. But I suppose he only had a split second to react, so it's a difficult one to judge. It really is. It shouldn't have been given. The lads were excellent, and I've just told them to be proud. You can't dwell on it. You've seen it's a foul on Alan Brown on the edge of the box, and it rolls up to his hand. I do believe it was a foul on Brown. I do know where his hand is meant to be, but anyway, the prompts all game are fantastic. Yeah, the main talking point was there a foul in the build-up? In my opinion, yes, it's a soft one, but it's a foul. And like Ryan Law said, if you're going to give all these other decisions throughout the game, you've got to give that one. And you've got to give the one before that and the one before that. Because there was a few things that went our way that probably shouldn't have done. But more often than not, when things that went their way that shouldn't have done, it's... Yeah, that's all I'll say. We've got to use that as motivation for next week to continue because we're not going to get no help. We already had apologies throughout the season for decisions which should have gone our way, whether it's red cards or penalties, so if we want any luck, we need to earn it ourselves. They were excellent from start to finish with their penalty. I think we were on par with them in the expected goals department, which means nothing to me. We knew we had to be fast and out of the traps to get the ball in behind. I thought it was a great game with both teams really, and it had a fair result, would have been 1-1, but we were undone by a decision. It was I'll harp on about it as long as I can, but the decision has cost us, which that's been the case quite a few times this season, especially when we started to fumble the form a little bit, just as it started to go downhill around Southampton time, when we had decisions that were really hard done, and we were denied penalty after penalty after penalty. But as soon as another team gets a potential penalty shout, straight away they get penalty. So I've got no fault in the boys with their quality and firepower and everything they've got. It took a penalty to break us down, which, yeah, I suppose that's a good way to look at it. That's the disappointing thing. I have to be careful what I say, but I'm going to go see the referee. I'm going to wait for him and have a chat. He's a good guy, Webby, but normally decent enough. It wasn't just me complaining about some fouls and yellows, it was their manager too. On triple substitutions with 20 minutes to go, it's not easy coming to Ellen Road. You have to see the changes they are making with them on the front foot, and it's in the ascendancy. The crowd is a big factor, the 12th man. I couldn't hear myself speak at one point, and we wanted to get fresh legs on and break the play. But I'm sitting here talking about how good we were, and substitutions, a big factor is we've been done by a decision we shouldn't have been given. We back ourselves to win first and foremost, but we knew we were up against a good team, and you can't be foolish. We obviously had 2 10s after the subs, and if we couldn't get them out and get letting up the pitch a little bit, there would have been opportunities for us, definitely. Would I have been content with the point and would have taken it? 100%, because you've taken 4 points off a team that's probably going back to the Premier League. It wasn't meant to be. I understand where it's coming from there, saying with, get letting up the pitch and try and feed him, but Leighton Stewart is not Will Keane. He's not Tom Cannon. He's not fucking Osmajic, is he? Leighton Stewart's trying to find his footing in this team that he will probably promise a little bit more in, and he can't, because Will Keane's in top form, relatively, and you're not playing him for the full 90. Fair enough, he might be tired, but I would have kept Will Keane on personally. And of course, with the absence of Evans and Osmajic this time around as well, it's a tricky one in terms of what we're going to do in terms of putting people up front. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter say the substitutions cost us as on top of the decision and blah blah blah, but you can't boil it down to the subs. Ryan Ledson got unlucky. It's as simple as that. That's all I can say. Ledson got unlucky. It's a shit way to lose a game of football, but at the end of the day, we lost the game of football. What can we do? Now, this is something that I should be talking about in a separate video, but I'm going to bring it up here. And that is Sunderland interest emerges as North End could face summer transfer competition. And guess who? Liam Miller. Now then, let's read this, shall we? So, according to reports, Sunderland see the former Liverpool man who was on loan at Deepdale as a suitable replacement for Jack Clarke. The 23-year-old star has been star performing in the Championship over the last couple of seasons, and is said to have a 18 million price tag for Jack Clarke. Christ. Clarke, formerly of Leeds United and Tottenham, has provided 36 goal contributions in a season and a half for the Black Cats. Miller is with P&E until the summer, and the Lily Whites have hopes of signing permanently, but Sunderland would provide competition. When asked about the situation with Miller, Peter Ridsdale told Lancashire Post, "It's a straight loan deal. The answer to whether he will be going back to Basel in the summer depends on what I do between now and next summer. I get the impression that he loves being here. If that is the case, then there's a deal to be done with Basel, in which we'll be talking to them. At this stage, I would not presume he's going back at the end of this season, but there is no deal done yet. He's a good player, young player, international. He's exactly what people want. People love to see players with pace and taking defenders on. And that's what he does." So, club captain Alan Brown also sung Miller's praises on Boxing Day, saying, "I don't think we've had someone similar to that, probably since Aidan McGeady in terms of 1v1. We had some pace and we got past players that way, but to actually have the skill to go past a player is quite rare in football. So yeah, he's one hell of a player, and hopefully he continues it for the rest of the season, because he's a really important player for us. I know he wanted to come back to England and he seems settled. We've welcomed him with open arms, as we do with everyone, and I think that is important for players. I have no doubt he'll have interest from everywhere. He's that good of a player." So yeah. And that's just people, making comments on Miller, but insiders do say that, include Alan Nixon as well. So if whatever your thoughts on Nixon, take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, Liam Miller is going to be on the radar of a lot of teams in the summer. think of it, you know, like when we make signings like this, whether it be Alvaro, who's now gone to Benfica, or the January signings like Cameron Archer and Tom Cannon, we bring the light towards these players, and when we try and get them back for another season, other teams come and swoop in and do the deal before we do. So it's as simple as that. It's going to be another one of these situations where if we can't tie something down before summer and make an agreement before the summer, before he gets, you know, released and he's available again for people to snatch, then that's when we're going to face the issues. Because if we lose a player like Liam Miller, because this season with how vital he's proven to be for us, we can't afford to lose Liam Miller. That's all I'm saying. If we do lose him, we need to replace him like that, because with a player like that on the left side, who's pacey enough to go forward and carry his own weight, in comparison to the right side with Potts, who we like to feed, so Potts can do his own thing, but then Potts will also feed it back to the middle to go back out wide to get into the box. Obviously Potts is no stranger to taking a shot from distance and whatnot. He likes his volleys and stuff. You know, we already have like a unique and niche winger on the right side, so to have a quality winger on the left side who's going to definitely try and challenge the likes of Brady on the bench and whatnot, it's going to be highly beneficial for us, not just because of how quality of a player Liam Miller is, just for the team spirit in general. We need Liam Miller, that's all I'm saying. If we can't get Miller, we get someone similar. But yeah, that's all from me today. Again, apologies for the late upload, but you know me, I do like me a good drink. And yeah, I'll see you at the weekend when we discuss the Millwall game, provided provided the drinks don't make me to the point where I can't do it on the Sunday.